I see what ho, chaps and chappets, Game Chap and Bertie here.
Yes.
Yes, indeed, fellows, and I dare say we are now discussing here a comparison of Star Wars Battlefront 3, the rather exciting new game from EA, as compared with Star Wars Battlefront 2, the very popular previous entry in this series.
We most certainly are, and we think there's a lot of fun in that. Now, the game Battlefront 3 is due to come out, I think, in November.
I see.
And it's looking rather good. You can play first or third person, apparently, and you can go around worlds such as Endor, Hoth, and Tatooine, etc.
I see, that's right. Now, of course, the game itself has many similarities to the previous entry in the series, Battlefront 2, which, of course, was, as I say, wildly popular, such as the interchangeable first and third person modes, of course, and also the ability to use various vehicles in the Star Wars fantasy universe to gain victory.
Most certainly, yes, and apparently you can get around on land-based vehicles and air, I believe, although I don't think you can go in space in this one.
Ah, I see. Now, of course, you could go in space in Battlefront 2. Now, of course, so far we've seen in Battlefront 3 the Chaps playing there on Hoth, which was, of course, the site of the Imperial, I should say, invasion of the Rebel base there.
Yes, and as you can see in Battlefront 3, it rhymes, doesn't it? As you can see in Battlefront 3.
Yes.
But still, as you can see there, the graphics are looking very, very good, and the gameplay looks good as well. All the right sounds in there, and the voices of the different commands and things going on. It's rather good, I think.
Certainly, indeed, and I do think we are seeing a very large step up in terms of graphics from Battlefront 2 to 3. Of course, Battlefront 2 being an old game, the difference is very, very noticeable.
Most certainly, yes. I mean, they did well with Battlefront 2. It was a good game. We played it, and it was fun.
Yes.
But certainly, with this one here, the graphics are looking good, and I think we haven't had a Battlefront for quite some time.
That's
and
right, of
this
course.
one's going to be popular, I think.
The fans have been clamouring for the return of this classic shooting game series Battlefront for many years, and it seems that none other than EA are on the job, who are known, of course, for the Battlefield series, which is also very good.
They are indeed. Apparently, I think EA's claimed, well, they've got the rights to do all Star Wars games on all the platforms now, I think.
They've got exclusive rights. I've just been knocked out by an AT-AT, of course. They've got exclusive rights, have they?
Apparently, yes, indeed. And I think, among others, DICE is working on it as well.
That's right, of course, the famous chaps behind the Battlefield series. Now, of course, it seems to me as if the focus this time in Star Wars Battlefront 3 is a little bit different from last time, old chap.
Really?
I think so. I think for a start there's actually going to be no campaign in the new game.
Ah, so you just go through missions then?
It seems to perhaps some kind of cooperative mission basis, to my understanding, old chap.
Right, okay, so it looks like a cooperative mission basis, as you say. And I think you can also... Yes, you can obviously play it offline as well, and there are cooperative missions. Which is rather fun, I suppose.
Yes, that's right. I suppose there is the offline element to it as well, of course, which is a co-op mode. Although, of course, undoubtedly the primary focus this time is going to be on the multiplayer element of the game.
Most certainly. So comparisons, I mean, in a game like this, comparisons, it's not just, I mean, a lot of it is about the graphics and how it looks. Especially with the Star Wars game. Everyone wants to feel that they're actually there doing the thing. And I think that's what they're trying to produce. They did it quite well in number 2, but
yes.
They certainly, I think, got it right in number 3 for sure.
Well, indeed, of course, the new game is very much packing the graphics there, which one expects of a modern game like this, and it really does, if you ask me, reproduce the Star Wars universe very handsomely, old chap.
It most certainly does, yes indeed. I think just looking at the comparisons of the game there, we've seen this game, Battlefront 3, also Battlefront 2 as well, and we can see that, the graphics are really, but they're a step up, no doubt about it.
That's
but
right.
What about the gameplay? Of course, we can't actually play Battlefront 3 game at the moment, but we can see some gameplay here going on.
Indeed, we can see what they've been up to in terms of manufacturing this game, and of course we can see at the moment it's looking very, very shiny indeed. Now, one of the questions I'd like to ask, perhaps you might know the answer about it, is can you play as the heroes in this game of each faction?
In Battlefront 3?
Yes.
Apparently, yes, you can. You can indeed, such as Darth Vader himself.
The Vader man himself, I
Vader,
see.
Yes, Vader, and also, of course, Luke. Mustn't forget Luke.
Luke,
and
yes.
You can also apparently play as such as Boba Fett and things.
I see. So the different heroes of each faction will come into play.
Fuel power of the dark side.
Precisely, well said, Elsa.
I have to do that.
And of course, I have to say, as perhaps you'll be able to see now here, the heroes in Battlefront 2 were extremely powerful, almost to the point of being broken. For example, Luke here has a lightsaber toss and also a force push, and his ability to cut through soldiers on the battlefield is quite unmatched, He really is something else.
Yes, indeed. Number 2, we've got a little bit of look of, what the characters look like in Battlefront 3 there, Luke and things, but of course we can't play them, so we don't know.
That's right. Of course, we don't yet know exactly how that's going to work, but certainly if it's anything like the previous Battlefront 2 outing, they will be very, very strong indeed. Perhaps it'll have to balance somewhat the multiplayer, though.
Yes, I imagine there will be some form of balancing in it. Presumably, also you'll also be able to play different classes of soldier, both on the Rebel as well as Imperial side, similar to Battlefront 2.
Yes, I do think there certainly will be different classes of troop available, as you say there, a bit like there are, of course, already in the Battlefield series. But the question remains to be seen whether or not heroes can take out entire command posts by themselves, as I'm doing here.
Well, exactly, that's the thing. We don't know whether they've sort of changed that or made them perhaps, less powerful than they are in this.
A bit of balancing, perhaps, might be in order, I think.
Yes, a bit of balancing, maybe. We don't know.
Of course, the idea of the hero is to, have a very, very powerful unit which can be summoned at any given point to give your team a big boost. But in the hands of the right player, he could be unstoppable, old chap.
Well, yes, he could be. Yes, indeed. I mean, I don't know whether you could just. I can't remember actually how you got the big power, Luke or whatever it is in the old game.
In the old game, I think it was a sort of perk for killing a number of enemy soldiers. You've got the perk of being able to play as Vader or Luke, depending on your chosen faction.
Yes, I thought it'd be something like that. So maybe it'll be similar in Battlefront 3. But certainly, from what I can see, it's looking very, very good indeed, and I think it's a good step up from Battlefront 2.
Certainly, yes, indeed. The game, as regards the graphics, there is no comparison. Of course, the actual fun factor of the game has yet to be seen. We won't know how fun or indeed balanced this game is until we've actually had a chance to play it for ourselves, but we can safely say it's going to be pretty good, old chap.
Almost certainly is, yes indeed. I mean, they're projecting sort of sales in the millions, I think.
Yes.
Up there, sort of 8-10 million is what they project sales.
That's right.
I think it will be popular because we haven't had a game out like this, Battlefront 2 we've had out some number of years ago. We haven't had a Battlefront out for years.
That's right.
So this is going to be popular. A lot of people remember the game, and I think they're going to want to play it.
And of course, many people, of course, were quite excited about rumours of this game for a while back there. They didn't actually materialise in the end to be anything after all, but this is very much the real deal.
It most certainly is, yes indeed, and I think with those graphics and the gameplay from what we could see there, although as I said we can't actually play it, I think we're looking at something that's going to be rather fun.
Quite special indeed, old chap.
Most certainly,
now,
yes.
one element I have to ask is,
Yes.
does the new game allow you to hop into an X-Wing and go into outer space?
Well no, as we said earlier, unfortunately I don't think you can do this in this one. Now, from what we can see, looking at that gameplay there, you can actually hop in an old spaceship or whatever, X-Wing or whatever it may be, and you scoot around in the world, okay?
Right,
I don't think you can actually get up there in space.
Okay, you can't actually take the fighter craft, as it were, into outer space then, because of course that was a big part of the previous game, where you could have, carrier versus carrier space battles, as it were.
There's no doubt about it, yes, that was a very good element of the previous game. You could actually fight on the planets, as we've seen, and also up in the air or in space, as it were, which was rather good, and they did it fairly well. But they haven't included in this one, don't know why, maybe it was just too much, but they do have, I can see, a number of worlds that you can go and investigate, so you're not just stuck on Hoth.
That's
lots
right.
of different worlds you'll be able to go to, so they certainly, they've made sure they've included lots of options, I think, even though space isn't there.
So of course we can see in the old game here very much making use of fighter craft in outer space. My favourite here, the TIE Interceptor, such a classic craft there, I say.
Yes, the old Interceptor here, of course we're in Battlefront 2 here, just showing you what they did there, and of course we're out in space now, firing and sort of having a good time blasting things out in outer space.
That's right, and these modes, these space battles were very exciting. As I recall, the objective here was to use your fighter craft to take out enemy critical systems, or alternatively to capture the flag, I believe, and bring it back to your own ship. In this case, I think the flag's over here, old boy.
Yes,
Take that, you cads.
Yes, take that. Yes, you could dock and do all sorts of things. I think you could actually, as I remember, you could land on the enemy ship and go and storm the ship.
You could. Currently, I've forgotten how to turn, you'll see. It's a bit of a shame, I know, but yes, of course, you could indeed land on the enemy ship and actually invade their base, as it were, and basically start taking out their critical systems on their battleship. Very smart, that.
Yes, indeed. So they haven't included it in Battlefront 3. Now, we don't really know why. Perhaps because it was just too much. We don't know.
Well, indeed, of course, perhaps this might be a mode they release in the future. You never know.
It could be. It could be they're planning for a little bit of the old DLC there or something similar, which will give you the ability to get out in space. We don't know. But from what we can see with the gameplay that we've already seen, what's going on the planets there, people are going to be, well catered for in terms of gameplay on the land without having to go up in space.
And of course, their general Star Wars fix there, very much being taken care of by the DICE chaps here.
Oh, most certainly, yes indeed, no doubt about that.
This game is looking on the whole very exciting. I dare say it's something I've been looking forward to for many years, and I think if there's anyone to take care of this in the modern shooting game industry, it's certainly going to be the DICE chaps.
I think so, yes indeed, and from what we can see there, they've done a jolly good job. They know, I think they sense, perhaps know what the fans and the community are going to want from a game, and they've done their best, from what I can see, to put that into it.
Yes, I certainly think so. Right, many options there, of course, but the only thing that perhaps I'm slightly questioning is indeed the absence of the campaign mode. I mean, I'm not sure what the choice is behind that, although you do have co-op missions in single player, I think. Offline rather. And of course, the absence of those space battles, which were a big part of the original game. But as I say, perhaps a future update for those.
Well, yes, it could be, we don't know. But from what we can see here, this is looking to be a very good game, and I think a lot of people are anticipating it and going to want to go out and get and play the game.
That's right.
I'm not sure what you Chaps, and general people watching just think about this. How do you see the thing comparing, as we've shown you there, number 2 and number 3? What do you think?
Is this a game you'd like to play, Star Wars Battlefront, or is it something that doesn't interest you at all, Fedios? And of course, what also do you think of the changes between these two games, numbers 2 and 3?
Most certainly, yes indeed. What do you think of the graphics, etc., so forth? And would you think they should have space in it or not?
Yes, that's right. Well, there you are, Fedios. This has indeed been Game Chef and Bertie bringing you our comparison of Star Wars Battlefront 2 and 3, and needless to say, we are quite excited for this game.
We most certainly are, yes indeed.
There we are. I delivered the flag, by the way. There you go,
delivered the flag and did well, yes.
Indeed. I say, inside the cockpit, what do you know?
Yes.
Thank you, Miss Cunningham, and we look forward to seeing once more the next rebels smashing out in Goodness Bay.
You'll be there.